So today we will discuss about the anatomy of breast or mammary gland. This is mammary gland is a modified sweat gland present in pectoral region, in superficial fascia of the pectoral region. Here is mammary gland. Its glandular part is situated in superficial fascia. This here is a opening in the deep fascia that is known as foramen of Langer. This is foramen of Langer. Which is present in opening in deep fascia. So its some part, superior lateral part, passes through this and goes into axilla. This part is known as axillary tail of Spence. This is axillary tail of Spence. This is axillary tail of Spence. This is superior lateral extensions, or superior lateral part of breast, which passes through foramen of Langer and reaches into the axilla. This is axillary tail of Spence. Its vertical extension is from second to this level, from second to sixth rib. Vertically it extends from second to sixth rib. Here is second to sixth rib, and horizontally it extends from outer border of sternum to mid-axillary line. Here is mid-axillary line, which is a vertical line between anterior axillary fold and posterior axillary fold. So horizontally it extends from outer border of sternum to mid-axillary line. And here you can see this is nipple which lies in fourth intercostal space. If you cut a section in parasagittal plane, you will find this is clavicle, here is subclavius muscle, then pectoralis minor. These two muscles are covered by clavipectoral fascia. This is clavipectoral fascia. It covers subclavius and pectoralis minor muscle, and here it becomes suspensory ligament. Here is pectoralis major muscle. This muscle is pectoralis major muscle. And this pectoralis major is covered by fascia known as pectoral fascia. This is pectoral fascia. And inferiorly, here is another muscle, serratus anterior and external oblique aponeurosis. External oblique aponeurosis. Here is loose connective tissue. Loose connective tissue. This is loose connective tissue, which forms retromammary space. So loose connective tissue forms retromammary space, and here is position of breast. This is position of breast. This space is known as retromammary space. It contains loose connective tissue. Now we will discuss about the structure of the breast. The breast is made up of skin, parenchyma, and stroma. So first of all, we will discuss about the skin. Skin. Here is, in skin there is two modification. This conical part is nipple. It contains circular smooth muscle and longitudinal arranged smooth muscle, and is pierced by numerous lactiferous ducts. These are numerous, 15 to 20 lactiferous ducts. So these lactiferous ducts pierce the nipple, and this nipple is surrounded by pigmented skin, that is areola. This part is areola. This areola is pigmented and it contains numerous sebaceous glands. These sebaceous glands enlarge during last phase of pregnancy and lactation, and these enlarged sebaceous glands forms tubercle of Montgomery. Montgomery, tubercle of Montgomery. So these are the tubercle of the Montgomery. This sebaceous gland secretion helps in prevention of cracking of nipple and areola during period of lactation. So after this, we will discuss about the deeper structure. And in this area, there is no fat. In nipple and areola, there is no fat. There is no hair follicle. Here are numerous nerve endings of the sensory nerve. So after this skin, now we will discuss about the deeper structure, that is parenchyma or glandular tissue. So here gland is present into 15 to 20 lobes. There are 15 to 20 lobes. These lobes secretes milk, and secretion passes through duct. Here, if you draw a diagram separately, you will find here is opening at the nipple. This is lactiferous sinus. It contains some milk at the every time at time of lactation. At duration of lactation, it contains some amounts of the milk always. So this is lactiferous duct, this is lactiferous sinus, and here are numerous alveoli. Which secretes milk, passes through lactiferous duct and reaches up to the summit of this nipple. So this is one lobe. So it has 15 to 20 lobes. Now after parenchyma, then another structure is supporting framework, that is stroma. Stroma forms supporting framework and is made up of fibro-fatty tissue. Fatty tissue, these are fatty tissue. And here are fibrous tissue which connects skin to pectoral fascia and also it connects duct to pectoral fascia. So these are supporting framework known as suspensory ligament. So it forms supporting framework, fibrofatty tissue. In case of the carcinoma, when carcinoma spread or involve these supporting frameworks, then you will find there is folding or puckering at the site of carcinoma or retraction like this, because these fibrous tissue involved. In case of ductal carcinoma, this nipple become retracted. In ductal carcinoma, here is duct. Due to involvement of ductal carcinoma, nipple become retracted. So these are the some clinical condition related to this. Now we will discuss about the relations. So in this diagram, you can see the breast lying over the retromemory space. So it is related with the retromemory space, then pectoral fascia, then pectoralis major muscle, serratus anterior muscle and external oblique aponeurosis. Then here is clavipectoral fascia, pectoralis minor muscle and suspensory ligament. Here this suspensory ligament is known as ligament of Cooper. Now, after relation, we will discuss about its arterial supply. It is supplied by branches of axillary artery. Here is axillary artery extended from outer border of first rib to lower border of teres major. It is divided into three parts by pectoralis minor muscle. So here is first part which gives superior thoracic artery. Here is acromiothoracic artery. It has four branches. Here is pectoral branch of acromiothoracic artery. Here is lateral thoracic artery. This is lateral thoracic artery. And laterally, here is lateral cutaneous branch of posterior intercostal arteries. Here is perforating branch of internal thoracic artery. Here is position of internal thoracic artery. So these are perforating branch of internal thoracic artery. So these vessels give supply to the breast. And venous drainage, veins accompanying the artery. Then in lateral side, the veins go into the posterior intercostal vein. Sometimes the carcinoma of the breast may spread through venous channel, and from here it reaches into Batson venous plexus, a plexus around the vertebra. Then from there it may ascend up to the brain. So carcinoma of the breast may reaches to brain through this venous channel. Another thing, here is perforating veins which drains into internal thoracic vein. Here are accompanying vein drains into axillary vein. So these are the arterial and venous arterial supply and venous drainage of the breast. Now important thing is lymphatic drainage. Lymphatic drainage is clinically very important. Lymphatics of the breast, about 75% goes into axillary group of lymph node. In axilla, there are 5 group of lymph node. This is lateral group, then there is anterior group, there is posterior group, there is central group, and there is apical group. So these are 5 groups of lymph node within axilla. So lymphatics, about 75% lymphatics goes into the axillary lymph node. 75%. 20% goes into the parasternal lymph node, which lie along the internal thoracic vessels. Here is parasternal lymph node. About 20% lymphatics goes into the parasternal lymph node. Rest 5% goes into different places like supraclavicular lymph node. Supraclavicular lymph node. Here is deltopectoral lymph node. So it goes into deltopectoral lymph node. Some lymphatic cross from one side to another side. From here to go another side of lymph node parasternal. This is the reason why carcinoma of one breast may spread to another breast. And another side where lymphatics goes, here is position of diaphragm. Lymphatics may go below the diaphragm, subdiaphragmatic plexus. Lymphatics may go subperitoneal plexus. So here two plexus are present within the abdominal cavity. So it pierces lymphatics, pierces the anterior abdominal muscle and goes into abdominal cavity below the diaphragm, that is subdiaphragmatic plexus, goes into subdiaphragmatic plexus and subperitoneal plexus. From here, lymphatics may reach into the pelvic cavity. Here is the ovary, and it may goes through transcoelomic transmission. Transcoelomic. From here, some droplet goes into this and form Kronkenberg tumor. Kronkenberg tumor in the ovary. So lymphatics may communicate to this part. So these are lymph nodes involved are related with the breast. Now lymphatics or lymphatic channels are in two forms, two sets, superficial and deep. Superficial lymphatics drains the skin except nipple and areola. Nipple and areola drains through deep lymphatics, and before forming deep lymphatic channel, it forms a subareolar plexus of septi. It forms a subareolar plexus of septi, and these plexus usually drains into anterior axillary group of lymph node. Next to this superficial, then subareolar plexus of septi, which is part of deep lymphatics. So deep to skin, or other than skin, all the tissue are drained into, all the tissue of the breast drained into regional lymph node. These lymph nodes through deep lymphatic channels. In case of obstruction of the superficial lymphatic channel, in case of carcinoma, there is edematous skin. This condition is known as PUD orange skin, or skin of orange, or peel of orange. So this is all about the anatomy of breast abdominal gland.